Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So finally it's time for my full review on the Honor 8. Wow. This has probably got to be one of the best phones that I've purchased at the $300 to $400 price range. And that's saying a lot because this phone lacks in certain areas, but gosh, it is so nice. I got to start off by saying yes, I recommend this phone because people are going to ask that. Yes, I recommend it. Now let's get to the review. So the first thing I like to look at is build quality and design. And I personally went with the white version. I just think the white version is the best looking one of them all. That's personal preference, obviously. I just think the white version shows off the cut of the phone. I just think it does it a little bit better. I like it. Just take a look at it. You've got an IR blaster, a microphone up top, headphone jack on the bottom, USB Type-C, and a speaker on the bottom there. Fingerprint reader and those dual cameras on the back there. Laser focus, auto, dual tone LED flash, fingerprint reader obviously. On the front here you've got the proximity sensor, speaker, and front camera. Then down here you've got that faint Honor branding, and you've got that same little Honor branding on the back here. Yes, Grant, I removed the stickers. I removed the stickers. It's good to go. Anyway, so the build quality of this phone, it's glass and metal, and it doesn't have a lot of grip, but the metal chassis, and then it has the glass front and back. This is, man, this is such a beautiful piece of hardware. I mean, I just can't get over it. I've actually been using this since I got it out of the box. I haven't put it down. I rotated SIM cards, yeah, but I've still had this phone in my possession since I bought it. I don't know how long I've had it. There's definitely been over 2 weeks, I guess. I don't know. But, wow. I'm really impressed. And I waited to do a review on this phone because I wanted to really fill it out and find out what I really disliked about it. And there's not a lot of things that I dislike. So, build quality is good. So the screen is a 5.2 inch, and this is not the norm for me because I have a lot of 5.5 and above. But this phone right here, coming in at 5.2 inches, is still a pretty large phone. It's not a small phone by any means. But the 5.2 inch display is just right. It looks great, and all sunlight, all angles, everything just looks really nice on this phone. Viewing angles are really good, especially in direct sunlight. It gets really, really bright. Depending on what wallpaper you have. I have a really dark wallpaper on here right now, but I'm not gonna change my wallpaper. That's the boss wallpaper right there. Shout out to the Tech Talk crew for making that, posting that in the crew there in the chat. So the screen on here, 5.2 inches, is more than enough real estate to enjoy media content. Yeah, it's a little on the smaller side because it has on-screen buttons, but the display itself is a gorgeous display. So okay, you guys are gonna make me change my wallpaper. Let's do it. I'll change it to the one that I had before. I started using that. And it's a beautiful display. That really shows off the display a little bit better than just a black wallpaper. So the display gets a 10. The build quality gets a 10 for sure. Now let's talk about something that that doesn't get a 10, and that's this little speaker down here. This speaker in no way can get a 10. It is just not very loud. It gets loud probably at about 80 to 100%. Other than that, depending on what you're playing, it's just not loud. It's not a loud speaker. I'm not going to tell you that it's a fantastic speaker because it's really not. It's on the lower side. Like most phones sound the best at 80 to 100%. But this one just, it's not that it's a bad speaker. It's just not very loud. And in order to get the good sound from it, you got to crank it way up to at least 80%, at least with my old ears. So, the speaker gets about probably a 5 in my book. Now, as far as features go, to me, this a feature-rich phone. When I think of feature-rich phones, I can only think of the Note line and some LG phones. So, features on here, it runs this stock UI, and it does have some little special tweaks here and there. Like if I long press here, I've got my transitions and widgets, and I can go in here and I can change the grid. I leave it at 5.5 by 5 because I like a lot on the screen. So that's how I leave it. But there's not a lot that's special about this phone, I guess I want to say. So let's go into the settings here, and you can see here that what it offers. You've got Smart Assist, and you got the navigation bar. You can change it to how you want. You got the floating dock, which I don't use. That's a little one you can have if you have small hands, that'll definitely help you out. You've got the smart key, which I have the press disabled because I had it set for screenshot, but I just kept accidentally pressing it. And I could have put it for double press, but I like my flashlight there. So, and then long press is Google. So I guess it's not as feature rich, but these are just kind of things that most phones have now. One-handed use, obviously. You got your voice control, which I do not use at all. Your smart cover, I plan on getting that smart cover, but that's, you have glove mode. Feature rich, not so much, but it's not a bad thing because I don't buy phones for features. So that's not something that's a deterrent for this phone. So, not a very feature-rich phone, but, it'll do. Those little gestures are enough for the average consumer. Web browsing on this 5.2-inch display is actually just really solid. I don't have any complaints about it. This 1080p display does very well, especially in direct sunlight. It gets super bright. So camera is where this phone really, really shines. Now the front camera and the rear camera are actually pretty good. So I'm going to pop up some photos here and let you see. It's very clear outside, indoors. It does very well. Video on this thing is really, really good. I have no complaints. It's just an all-around good camera. Yeah, it has dual cameras there, but I didn't buy this because it had dual cameras. I bought it because I liked the design of it. And then after I got it, I thought, whoa, this is a pretty good deal. And the camera is actually really good. Now, the camera's limitations, it only shoots in 1080p at 60 frames per second. So that's kind of a downer for some people. But you guys know, if you don't know by now, you're just stopping by my channel, check the highest resolution on this video. It's going to be 1080p at 60 frames per second because that is what I prefer. 4K for me at this point is overkill. A lot of people don't, even though I have 4K monitors and TVs and stuff, most people don't. So 1080p at 60 frames per second is top of the line for where I want to go right now. And I think it's obviously the better quality video to me than just 4K at 30 frames per second. Now 4K at 60 frames per second, that's boss. Nothing's topping that. But this phone tops out at 1080p at 60 frames per second, and it does very, very well. Software on here is Huawei's own little skin, and as you can see here, I'm still running the skin. I didn't put anything on there, I didn't do anything special. Pixel launcher, you guys know I do that to every phone. I put the Pixel launcher on there. I didn't do it for this phone. I actually like it as is. It's really fast. I just don't have any problems with it. It just does well. It just does well. The performance on here, this skin is working very well with the high silicon Kirin 950. Now that processor is in the Mate 8, it's in other phones. It is a fabulous processor. For people that like benchmarks, it scores kind of high on benchmarks. It's just an all-around solid performer. I haven't had any crashes, no reboots, no nothing in the 2 to 3 weeks I've had this phone. So I'm super impressed. Battery life is where this phone shines as well. Now it's been sitting because I've been playing around with the G5 a lot since I just got it recently. I got it again, I should say. So right here, you'll see it has ROG power saving. Yes, you can actually chop this phone down to 720p. That is actually really, 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 really nice. One more really, really. Other than that, I don't use that. So I keep it on smart. And as you can see here, I have 26 hours left. And I go to Ultra. I'll show you what Ultra looks like. This is Ultra, basically. You've seen this on other phones. That's it. So, I'm going to mute some devices back here, sorry. All the beeping kind of getting on my nerves. So, yeah, the battery on this thing, I keep it in smart because, I just let the CPU work how it's supposed to. If you want more power, though, maybe I'll test it in the 720 version. I just haven't done that in the whole time I've had this phone. I'm sure I'll get much better battery life than I'm getting right now. Right now, I can get about 5-6 hours, maybe 6.5. Let's see where I'm at right now. So I'm at 1 hour and 47 minutes, and I have 54 minutes left. Now, again, this hasn't been getting much use because you can see the standby here It's been standing by for 39 hours. I told you I've been playing with my G5. But when you think about that, put that into perspective, that's really good. Standing by for over a day, almost 2 days, it was standing by, and then I picked it up and started using it again, and I've already got 2 hours of, almost 2 hours of screen on time, but I still have 54% left on my battery. That's excellent battery. And I definitely can pull down 6 hours easy, or 5.5. Let's just drop it back a little bit. 5.5. I can at least pull 5.5. And this is something feature right here. I like that you can close things and it tells you how much you're going to extend your battery. That's pretty cool. So battery life, guys, has been just on point. It's a good phone for battery. Now let's jump to the final part, is the price, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. This phone, there's two versions of this phone. There's a 64 gig variant and a 32 gig variant. Now this phone has a high silicon 950 processor in it with 4 gigs of RAM. And this is the 32 gig version. Now there is a 64 gig version with pretty much the same, just has 64 gigs. That one costs $399 and it's on sale sometimes for $350. This one is actually on sale at the recording of this video for $299. Nearly everywhere. There's promos, just search for it. But I think that probably the overall for this phone, I definitely give this phone like at least a 9.8 probably, or 9.7. I got to take off for the camera because this phone isn't just for me. Some people might want this package and they might want 4K recording. And also that speaker is kind of weak. So maybe a 9.5 total score. That'll do it for this phone. I'm going to continue to use this. I put it in airplane mode because I get so many notifications and I don't want to get all the beeping during the videos. Let me turn it back off now before I forget. I'll be wondering where all my notifications are at. But guys, listen, if you don't have an Honor 8, I'm not going to tell you to run out and buy one. What I'm going to tell you is if you don't want to spend over 400 bucks, it's vibrating and getting all the messages coming in. It does have an LED light, by the way. You can see it right there. Right there. So I'm going to tell you, hey, if you're looking for a phone that has a lot of good specs in it, a powerful performer, 4 gigs of RAM. Oh, I'm sorry. It has an SD card slot too. And it uses a nano SIM. And if I didn't cover something in the video, you can ask a question down below. Just something that you'd want to know about it. And I'll try to get to it as quick as possible. But it does have an SD card slot. You can extend the memory. 32 gigs on board. I don't have an SD card slot in here because if you know, 32 gigs is enough for me. But when phones come with more than that, I definitely enjoy it. And I tend to load up a little more. But guys, this is a solid performer. So what, the speaker is a little weak. Plug in your headphones or use Bluetooth. So what, the camera doesn't record in 4K. Hey, 1080p at 60 frames per second. It's super clear. I'm not one to tell a person to buy a phone just because I like it. I'm going to tell you, because people always ask me, would you recommend this or this? They'll say Honor 8 or G5. They'll say something like that. And I was like, hey, you have to go play with these phones and kind of figure it out for yourself. They're all at these local stores. Best Buy has these on display. So I'm going to tell you that I would recommend this phone. That's about as far as I can go with it. I would recommend this phone. If you're in between 300 and 400 and you're searching, yeah, there's a lot of other phones out there. But talking to the average consumer, I don't think a lot of people know what the OnePlus 3 is. And I don't think a lot of people know about unlocked phones, period. But this phone is on hand in the store. You could pick it up. And you will run into this phone quicker than you'll run into a OnePlus 3 in a store. And I say the OnePlus 3 because some people are going to say, well, the OnePlus 3 costs the same and you get more powerful specs. It's not always about specs in a lot of cases. It's about this design looks better than the OnePlus 3 to me. The cameras are on par, if not better than the OnePlus 3 for that matter. And that's personal preference. I had the OnePlus 3, both colors, and the OnePlus 3T is out now. So it's pretty much the same phone, just upgraded a little bit of internals. But I would definitely recommend this phone because you can get it for as low as $300. And if you have like coupons and stuff like that, or you catch the right promo, some people got it as low as $250. One guy said he got it for $150 during Black Friday. So, right now the promos that I see are $299. That's a fantastic deal for this device. I mean, this hardware is stellar. You got an IR blaster, an SD card, USB Type-C, headphone jack, rear-mounted fingerprint reader, which is plenty fast. As you can see, it's really fast. It's a good good device. And cameras are extremely impressive, and they hold their own against any phone. So it's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. This phone gets a definite thumbs up and a 9.5 rating overall from me. Highly recommended. It's going back into its case now and back on my desk so I can continue to use it. Take care.